Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Purposeful Wisdom Podcast. My name is Dawn Christine. Thank you guys so much for being here. For those of you just joining me for the first time, welcome. For those of you returning, welcome back. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. Help me grow this channel. I promote healing mentally, emotionally, physically. I have the best of the best on this platform. And today is no different. Like I always say, I have the pleasure of introducing Dr. Gigi Arnaud with me today. Gigi has over 2 decades as a life and mindset coach and hypnotherapist. Gigi brings a wealth of knowledge and insight to the table, but that is not all. For over 30 years, she practiced as a dentist in her private clinic in the bustling heart of New York City. However, beneath these incredible professional accomplishments lies a profound professional journey. After years of feeling trapped, anxious, and unfulfilled, Gigi had a revelation that changed her life's course. She realized that mastering the mind was the missing link, and she was uniquely positioned to integrate her scientific background with her newfound understanding. Today, Gigi is on a mission to share her wisdom with you. Her purpose is clear: to uplift, inspire, and help individuals who, despite external success, are yearning for fulfillment and happiness within. By bridging the connection between your body and mind and understanding the intricacies of your nervous system, Gigi will guide you in creating new neural pathways, paving the way for a life filled with genuine success and fulfillment. Thank you so much, Dr. Gigi. How are you today? Thanks so much for being here.
Dawn Christine, how are you?
I'm so happy you're here because you know me, I love the mind. I love the mind. And to have your expertise on the platform, I think it's just going to open up my listeners to even more tools for their toolbox to grow and learn. And I always like to get started with all of my guests is to the beginning. What brought you to this field, especially from being a dentist to now going into hypnotherapy? What changed?
Very good question. So when I started off, long time ago, I didn't, I was confused like everybody else when they're younger, and I really didn't know what I was going to do. And I really wasn't taught from my family to follow my own path, my own heart. My parents were immigrants from France who had tough lives. And it was, I really didn't know myself. So I was a good student and I was good with my hands. I always did art. So someone I knew literally, his father, he was going to be a dentist. And I actually said to him, why would anybody want to be a dentist? I actually said that. He reminded me later on. And then his father kind of talked, said, oh, you would be good at this. And at that time, there were very few women too. And I thought, okay, I like the idea of being my own boss. I like the idea of working part-time, full-time, whatever, working with my hands, working with people. I didn't realize then how technical it was and how actually very challenging. It's a challenging profession, but I did it. I went to dental school and then I moved abroad, lived abroad. I like adventure. And then when I came back and I practiced there, when I came back, I, opened my own practice and I became a dentist. But I also knew that by nature, I'm a creative, really, a kind of a healer. I call it a healer and a creative. So I was always interested in art. I did acting. I did dancing as a child. I wanted to be a dancer. So I, had to find a way to express my creativity. And I was already in my 30s, so I couldn't really be a dancer anymore. My day job was a dentist, which is kind of funny. But I did do this other stuff and kind of look for things to be creative with. So I did acting. And then for many reasons, I had to stop that for life coming in. And then I, at one point I was raising my son. I have a wonderful son. I was raising him pretty much by myself. I had divorced when he was young. So I was very busy between maintaining, my dental practice in New York City, raising my son. But I noticed with my dental patients, I had a lot of Europeans. I speak French, and I had a lot of Europeans and people from all over, and a lot of them were phobic, like a lot of them. So I would use just naturally, I used a lot of good music in my practice, joking, breathing techniques, which I had learned, I used with patients. And then, I thought I had some patients who were particularly phobic, one particularly, and I thought to myself, how can I do something about this? And someone kind of mentioned hypnosis. Now, at that time, hypnosis was like you know, you thought of hypnosis like the show hypnosis, but that's
Right.
not what this is, right? This is more like medical hypnosis or psychological hypnosis. So I went to study it, and it was fascinating. So I continued studying it. It was with therapists mostly. It was fantastic. It was through the American Society of Clinical Hypnosis, founded by Dr. Erickson, who was the modern father of hypnosis. So it was fascinating, and I really enjoyed it because I was always fascinated with the mind, always, since childhood, and you know, the psyche and all that. And I then very strangely, we were living in New Jersey, and a neighbor of mine kind of came up to me one day, and she said, there's this new field coaching, because it was like 20, 25 years ago, this new field called coaching, and I think you'd be good at it. That's what she said to me. And I'm like, what is that? And she explained it, and I thought, oh, that is really interesting. So I looked into it, and I studied. I did the whole thing. I did course and all that, and I did find it fascinating. So for many, many years, I was a dentist for over 30 years. So I did the hypnosis and the coaching on the side. Like I would do it in the evenings. And at first I started hypnosis for dentistry, but then it became a lot of other stuff. Sleep, weight loss, which I mixed the coaching and the hypnosis, phobias, a lot of stuff, fears of a lot of different kinds, and habit change, even mind habit change. So I went more toward mindset and mind shift coaching, because I realized in my own life that was when I looked deeply after years of everything: therapy, coaching, hypnosis, books, courses, like the whole thing. I finally realized the bottom line was my thoughts and beliefs. I was believing them, and they weren't healthy, and they weren't real, and they were blocking me and limiting me in many ways. And I realized a lot of people deal with this. You know, a lot of us have our masks on and walk around as if everything was fine. And to be honest, on the outside, I looked very successful, right? Here I was a dentist, you know, I was traveling a lot. I was taking my son all over. But on the inside, there was silent suffering. And a lot of people go through that. Because in this society, we're not particularly, you know, taught to show the sides that are inside. So bottom line, the work I'm doing now, I'm loving, because the idea for me, because I had to do it for myself, and it's, you know, heal thyself, right? Yes. So what you do, my main intention for doing this work is now to help others rediscover who they really are, their authentic self, and their life purpose, not just purpose in the way we talk about it, but the life purpose, like why you get up in the morning, and how I help them change their underlying subconscious thought and belief systems that limit them and are negative, and change them to those that will align with, with who they really are. And sometimes this is hard, as you know, we all know, because it's trauma, you know, from a lot of people from childhood, a lot of us, and if not from childhood, then after the pandemic, we all are, right, have some kind of trauma. So this is really fascinating work. And what I'm doing now is I'm also a visual artist. I'm a painter. I'm an abstract painter. So I am combining stuff now, like with I now do coaching and hypnosis. I kind of combine it. So I'll do packages, and then I'll sometimes do extra little sessions or packages of hypnosis, because hypnosis allows the person to go into a trance state. It's not a woo-woo thing. It's like we're in it a lot of the day, but we don't know it. Have people be in a trance state so that we can make positive suggestions to their subconscious mind. So it's a way of going deeper, right? And I call it kickstarting. So for example, like I have a client now, we're doing weight loss. Now, it's not just weight loss, it's eating disorders, and I go deeper. You have to find what the issue is and all that. It's not just, I'm going to lose 15 pounds. Right. And I won't do it without hypnosis, without coaching anymore, because you can just lose weight, but if you don't know how to live, eat, move, and I'm good up here, you're going to gain it back. So it's I love involving all of it, and even my art. I'm starting to use that to look into people's. It's very interesting because art can show you a lot. There's a lot of expression there that's from underlying. So it's a lot of work of. I know this sounds complex, but
no, it's awesome.
Good. So it's a lot of connecting the subconscious to the conscious, because subconscious or unconscious thoughts, which the body represents, by the way, if they don't come to the conscious, our everyday mind, they're trapped there. And this is what is controlling our life, really. We think it's up here, but it's not. It's
back here.
Yeah. It's right. It's all this. So we have to, I'm going to use a dental term. We have to extract it, right? And get it out there and work with it and process it and sometimes heal things. And it can be wonderful, because after that, there's so much growth and learning. And you can finally, by the way, no matter what age you are, what stage of life you're in, what chapter you're in, no matter what, you can do this. You can change. And I just want to say that a lot of it comes from the body to the mind. We kind of are used to, in this culture here, always working with this. But in the end, that's not what leads our lives. It's in here. It's stored in a lot of the anxiety, trauma that we have, tension that we have, is stored in the body. So I work a lot with the body connected to the mind. We do a lot of exercises, repetitive, and tools that teach you to do that. But it needs a lot of repetition, so things will actually change. The neural pathway.
Absolutely.
Going back to the neural pathway.
Right. And
well,
that's so interesting.
Long-winded answer.
No, Gigi, that was awesome, because everything you said made sense, at least to me. And many years ago, I read a book called Body Keeps the Score. So I understand completely.
So let's tell people about that book, because I'm a reader like you. We're both New York girls. We're both readers. And The Body Keeps the Score is from a Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, who's one of the experts in trauma. And that book is interesting, like you're saying, and a lot of people have read it, because I see people in the subway reading it.
So good.
And it's about how all the things that we experience, the tension, the stress, anxiety, lays in the body. So
we store in the body.
Can I give your listeners a trick right away? Something
Please.
I did with you today, right? So I told Dawn Christine that I was feeling a little, there's stuff going on, and you have to feel your feelings. You can't ignore them. I couldn't say, oh, I'm feeling bad, and make a smile face, and that's it. So I have to feel what I was feeling. And so I said to her, I'm going to get up and shake myself out. And I did. I got up, and you shake yourself out, you dance around the room. And what this does is ground you, first of all. It gets you back to your center and back to your body. And it also releases the tension, stress, anxiety that you have built up, so that then when your body is feeling clear, your mind can clear also. They go together.
Absolutely.
So that's one little trick. If anybody just is feeling tense, stressed, whatever today, get up, dance around the room, or shake yourself out.
I love that. No, because it really plays into the next question that I'm going to ask you about the mind-body connection, and how important that role plays in the development of achieving our goals and living our lives. Because if everything's connected, and it is a trifecta, this does play an important part in how we view the outside world, how we set ourselves up to achieve the goals we want to achieve. So what does that look like? And what insights could you provide my listeners with how to even get started on that path?
Oh, that's a beautiful, beautiful question. By trifecta, you mean mind, body, spirit. Yeah. Okay, great. Totally agree. And people can call spirit what they want, by the way. It's not religious. It's not.
No.
It can be the divine spark, what I believe is within all of us. So.
Agreed.
So I already talked about how the body, let's say, is the representation of the unconscious or subconscious mind. So, and that's really what controls our lives. 95% of our lives are controlled by what we're not aware of. It's not what, how do we know this? Did you ever try making New Year's resolutions? Do they work?
You can do it anymore.
Yeah, people don't do it anymore because it doesn't work because it's willpower. It's the conscious mind only. We all know what happens 3 weeks after you say you're going to sign up in the gym, forget the gym. We all know that. So because that's only willpower of the conscious mind, it's not enough. It won't make lasting change. Like my intention is to help people make long lasting change that aligns with who they are. So to make long lasting change, you must connect with your body. The feelings in your body, the alarms and sensations in your body, right? So for example, let's make an example. Okay. So Dawn Christine, when you're feeling stress, anxiety, you're feeling like, where do you feel it? Because I know right away where I feel it. Where do you feel it in your body?
Honestly, my shoulders, I carry a lot of stress in my shoulders, and sometimes in my stomach, I'll feel it.
Exactly. So that's beautiful. And that's like a lot of people. Me, it's my stomach. Like if someone's lying, even it's my gut, my intuition is there too. That's your subconscious, that's underneath. So if someone's lying or something stresses me, my stomach goes,
yeah.
Like I know right away. We have to learn to listen to that. And those alarm with anxiety and stuff, those alarms that go off, we have to listen to, because the first place we feel them is not up here. Because it's very quick.
Nope.
It's in our bodies. Okay. Yep. So, and if you know how I'm not going to go into too much science, but if you know how the brain was developed, our nervous system was developed,
right?
We know that the primitive reptilian brain was first. That's so that we can be safe and survive. Because the primary function of our mind is what? To survive and keep us safe. Okay.
That's right.
So it does whatever it needs to do. That's the first thing that comes online. You see a tiger going to attack you. You don't think, oh, should I be friendly with the tiger? You're like, how do I get out of here? Fight or flight or freeze.
Right, exactly.
Or freeze or fawn. Get out. So that's okay. So that's it. But if you're, and that's the first brain. The second part of the brain developed is the limbic brain, which is the emotional brain. Okay. So that's the second thing to go off, right? It goes off, goes, oh, I got to get out of here, right? And then, only then, does the neocortex, the most modern part of our brain, and that what makes us human difference, the frontal lobes here, only then do these go online. So that's the last thing to go online.
Right.
You have to know that. So your body is the first place you feel things. And I'm going to say this so people don't suffer as long as I have, because one of my other intentions is there'll be less suffering in the world. Because I spent decades suffering when I really didn't have to suffer so long. And it's awful. And no one should have to go through suffering like that. So you have to become aware of what your body is telling you. Stop, learn to ground center, listen, and then the mind will follow suit. The neocortex will come in last, and it'll help you regulate, right?
Right.
So just giving you an idea of how it works, right away, you have to become aware of feelings in your body. Many of us dissociate, especially in this culture, which teaches us the mind is everything. It doesn't work.
Right.
That's why so many what we think of successful, which is their own definition, but everybody has a different definition. But successful in this society, a lot of those people are not good inside.
Right.
Okay. So just you have to understand how that works. So do you understand?
Oh yeah, I completely understand. And I also know, because I deal with that too. Like you have the sympathetic and the parasympathetic system, and the parasympathetic is connected to the fight, flight, freeze. Those are your responses.
All right, beautiful. So let's bring that up.
Girl, I'm totally
we got it. So let me bring it up just a little bit. That's a great thing you said, because okay. So people ask me a lot, and because I was a dentist, we studied this part a lot. The nerves in the head. Okay, so the biggest cranial nerve in the body is the vagus nerve. Okay, the biggest nerve in the body. It goes from the head. It passes through your smile, your face muscle. It passes through your vocal cords, your larynx. It goes to your lungs, your heart, into your stomach. It is the bidirectional pathway when we talk about gut reactions, intuitive reactions, it's no joke. There's a direct pathway. Okay. So now this vagus nerve is part of the, like you said, the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest. I call it the rest, relax, and digest.
That's right.
So some of the work I do and a lot of the tools I use are to stimulate the vagus nerve, because when you do, the system relaxes and then the mind relaxes.
That's right.
So simple ways to do that. I'm just going to throw things out there.
Please.
One thing, okay. The obvious thing is, well, first thing, cold water. I mean, this is a simple one. Splash cold water in your face, put your hands under cold water. You know, those polar bears that jump in the freezing cold ocean in the winter. There's a reason for this. That shocks the system and it stimulates the vagus nerve. So your body relaxes. It's unbelievable. But cold water works. So if you're feeling anxious, nervous, splash yourself with cold water. There's a reason people said that in the past. Splash your face with cold water, right? That's one thing. Another thing you could do to stimulate the vagus nerve, you're going to laugh, just smile.
Yep.
You know, it's not just because I used to be a dentist. It's when you smile, you're literally stimulating the vagus nerve, and that relaxes the body. That's why people say when you smile, you can't really feel angry, upset.
Right.
Because your system goes to rest and digest.
Exactly.
Opposed to what you say when we're always in the head and we're thinking and we're going over things and we're ruminating and repetitive, negative, anxious thoughts, which don't ask, I had them for years. So I know what they are. We think we can solve our problems just by solving them in our head. Nah. You can't do that. It has to be connected to your body. Okay. Right. That won't do it alone. So there's a real understanding of your body and your mind. There's also an understanding if you don't let yourself feel your feelings. If you suppress them or deny them or keep pushing them down, which I also did for years, you can get chronic conditions. And I did, by the way. I got very severe osteoarthritis.
That's where disease comes in. Like that's the whole,
when they
like
say,
if you pick apart
that's
disease.
Right. Disease. So
yeah,
I really encourage people, whoever you are, whatever stage you are, if you're feeling stuck inside, sad, you might have everything on the outside, but something's missing. You feel empty. Something's, you know, it's not right. Listen to that little voice. It doesn't mean you have to change everything immediately. Listen to the voice and start doing some work with it. You can do it alone, but it really is much easier and quicker and worth it to get help. Whatever kind of, that could be coaching, that like our kind of coaching, that could be therapy, that could be somatic practices, you know, body practice. It can be so many things. And if people want any, you know, referrals or things, they can always be in touch with me. So yeah, it's, and
I think it's fascinating because the more and more that, you know, you educate yourself about these things, the more that you can not be, because, you know, everyone's scared of change. Let's just face it. Fear runs our lives. And what people don't understand is that fear, like my acronym for fear is face everything and rise. Like, honestly, like that's my acronym for fear. Face everything and rise.
And you can also add to that, I love that because that's how I am. Face and feel everything and rise.
I love that. Because you're supposed to feel, and that's the thing. I think that's where people, and especially all the professionals that I, you know, bring on the show too, and I know this in my own field, that's, you know, we recognize whatever traumas there are, we recognize what tools we need to do to address that, but when it comes to actually implementing them, change is scary for a lot of people. But if you can't, if you have to like push through that, because if it scares you, it means you got to do it. If you want to change your life, you have to change you. You can't change the outside world, but it's also recognizing when these negative thoughts come into your head and allowing them to be, recognizing it and say, like, for instance, my biggest thing, especially that it was a belief system, an old belief system of mine, and it was the way I was brought up. I was instilled with fear when I was a child. I was like, I was all around it. everything was fear-based. And you could imagine, like, as you grow up, your parasympathetic, talk about like always in flight mode. That was my norm, though. My body adjusted to that flight, and I stayed in an anxious, I was always anxious.
That's right.
That was my norm. And through the years, when I learned what that was, and I was like, okay, now forget it. Like I'm nowhere near that anymore. Like I had to do the work. But it's like recognizing the thought, noticing, okay, I see you, fear, but I got this. So it's being in touch with the feeling of it. Okay, it's coming into my body. Where do I feel it? I feel it all up in my stomach when I get nervous. Okay, I recognize it, but you know what? And it's like you have this little self-talk to yourself, and you say, you know what, Dawn, I got this. Like, I recognize you're here. I know you're here to help me, but I'm in control. And that's just, and people may think it's woo, but it really does work, because now you're taking that power back and telling yourself, I got this, like affirming you have this, you recognize it. So now it's just kind of in the background, and then it allows you to move forward with your life. Have you seen this? Like, is this something that you see with your clients?
It's not only seen, I see it all the time, but that was my life too. I was anxious for like 50 years. I mean, heavy duty all the time. And what happens is you think it's normal.
Right.
So you think everybody else is feeling the same way, but you realize at some point that it's not, that something's off, that it's not normal, or, normal, whatever that means. And I have a background, a history of intergenerational trauma in my family. My parents were hidden children Holocaust survivors from France. So don't mention fear. Fear was like everything and everywhere, and almost paralyzed us. I would say my brother's still partly paralyzed, really. And I made a very conscious, I remember at 18, I thought to myself, I'm consciously going to start facing, like you said, my fears. And I did. And I remember I traveled alone at 22 with my backpack through Europe, and my father's like, over my dead body. And I'm like, no choice. It's my money. I did it. I made the money. I made the money myself. So I intentionally started trying to conquer my fears. I was scared as hell. They say jokingly that the three things we're sure about in life are death, taxes, and change. But if you, like you said, there's fear, but there was a very famous book years ago. I can't remember who wrote it. Susan, was it Isaac? Feel the fear and do it anyway. Everybody feels fear. But if you don't change, you're going to stagnate. We're made to change. The earth is constantly changing. We're constantly changing. We all have to go through it. And if you don't want to do it alone, get help. There's a lot of help out there these days. When I was young, there wasn't so much help. It was harder. So I love what you said, though, about the catching your thoughts, because I'm going to say that's the number one, for me, it was at least the number one obstacle. I thought my thoughts were true.
Right.
Believing your thoughts. The first thing I talk when I say to clients, almost the first thing I say, and I have them put it on a Post-it, 98% of my thoughts are not true. It's 98% of our whatever 1,000 of thoughts a day are not true. They're not true. And I teach them things to question their thoughts, because even I had to do that today, because sometimes it takes over from the training from the past. Right? When 0 to 7 years old, that gets embedded in your body and your subconscious.
Oh yeah.
And today it came over with me, and I had to talk to myself. I had to say, is this from the past? This thinking? And it was like 95% from the past.
Right.
And so one of the first things, and I write blog posts, and I write all this stuff in my blog post, is, like you said, becoming aware of your thoughts, becoming the objective observer of your thoughts. That's number one. Right? Becoming aware, then accepting that, they may not be from right now. They may be something from the past that's been triggered. Right? So you have awareness, you have acceptance, And then you can work through it. Like you said, do the inner work, do the looking, do the asking yourself questions, and do it with somebody. If
Right.
because that whatever, do it. And then if you have trauma on top of that, you can heal it. It takes work. It's not a linear path. It's up and down. It's your whole life, and you have to work through it. But in the end, you can process your trauma, your healing, and you can come out with new growth, resilience, and to be who you really are. Because the bottom line is you got to be who you really are.
Exactly. And
So
this
many
is
of
the
us wear
this
masks.
is the big right. And here's the thing that I've come to recognize even through my own healing. Number one, if you come from a traumatic background, healing is inevitable. You're going to heal for the rest of your life, hands down. Okay. But it's never good. The thing that you went through, whatever that looked like for whoever it is, it's part of you, but it's part of your past, right? And for the longest time, even with me, like I would bring that past into my future, into my 20s, into my 30s, and we carry that with us. And I think the key is to, again, realize like, yes, things will happen in our lives that are traumatizing to humans, whatever. And trauma can look and be many forms. It is
There's large T
individualized.
trauma, small T trauma, there's all kinds.
Absolutely. Trauma is trauma, and it'll look different for everyone. But I think the key is to cut the cord at some point and say, okay, I'm not my trauma. I'm not my past. Yes, it's part of me, but it's part of the past. And if I continue to drag that into everything I'm doing currently, it's going to be like a snowball effect. You're just on a hamster on a wheel, and you're never going to get past that. So it's changing the belief system too, Gigi. I really feel that because we have to question if things are real. I know that so many of us, we make up stories in our heads. We make up these elaborate stories on our heads. And it goes back to what you said, 95% of the things we think are not even true.
Past. So then, beautifully said. So then when you realize it's from the past, which can be hard that's the hardest part, because it took me years to realize I'm being triggered now. A trigger, by the way, is something in the present that triggers something that happened in the past. So, for example, I had these thoughts this morning, and I realized, I was talking to myself and realized, wow, this is the childhood feeling you had. This is coming up and something's triggering it.
Right.
And it could be a person, place, thing, whatever event. And then you can start saying to yourself, only then can you start saying to yourself, okay, first you can ground your body, calm your body. There are ways to do that too. Ground your body, that's very important. And once you do that and you get into your body more, then you can start really observing your thoughts more objectively. But when you're in, like you said, that anxiety that we had so much of our lives, when you're in that all the time, you're in that sympathetic fight or flight constantly. So you have cortisol and other nerve hormones, other hormones that are flying through your body, and they wear you out. I mean, they literally wear your body out. They wear your mind out. It's when you have that going on, it's very hard to be able to observe your thoughts objectively. So the first thing to do again is to ground your body, calm your body, get into your body. And there are ways to do this. There are many exercises, ways you can do this. And then your mind will kind of calm down a bit. And then you can start, like you were saying, because I think a lot of the people who come to me don't realize, and I didn't, and I'm not a dumb person. It doesn't matter how intelligent or not intelligent you are. It's emotional. So
we're humans. Yeah.
We're humans, and we have a lot of stuff and emotions and all that. And to realize that, you really have to be in touch. So you have to be in touch with your body and your mind. You have to be in touch with what your real life purpose is, what your definition of success is, your individual definition. is of success and meaning and fulfillment, because it may be like mine is different than society, but it took me a long time to find that
Mine
out.
too.
And I was trying, you too, and we were trying to fit in, and it doesn't work.
I never wanted to fit in either. Like I've always been, I was honestly I was the outside of the box thinker ever since I was a child. I made it a point to stand out because I didn't want to be I didn't want to be a sheep. I wanted to be a wolf. And for me, it's like, why do I want to follow the pack? Like I want to have my own individuality and my own authenticity. And if that makes me a loner, like, oh, well, I think too, when you go back to like, recognizing the body and having those exercises. I know for me, and let me know if it is for you too and your clients, tapping, deep breathing exercises, like to ground the body. Like what does it look like for you?
I do a little differently. So
Okay.
I do a lot of grounding exercises, some that I made up, some that are very common, but many. I do all kinds of odd kind of exercises with the body that are not typical. It's hard to explain, but a lot of them are grounding or recognizing different parts of the body, visualizing is part of it. I am a hypnotherapist, so hypnosis is a lot of visualization, creativity, imagination. I use creativity a lot with it. I have people, use their body and their mind and things in different art endeavors, whatever, creative endeavors, all different ways to do it. I don't use tapping particularly because for me, it just doesn't do that much. But for some people, it does. So
right.
That's it. So see, this is a good thing. Like for you, it works. For me, not so much. So you use what works for you. But this is
right.
I want people to understand. It was so interesting to listen to you because we're from different generations. And, I was thinking, I was raised in a generation where, I was told to be as a woman, a teacher or a nurse.
Right.
Right. So, or a wife, right? So it was much harder. So my training was partly from that generation and partly from the new one. So I had a lot of conflict because I looked like I fit in on the outside, but it wasn't me on the inside. So I had a lot of conflict from that. The younger generations, thanks to a lot of us women of the older generations and others, that they don't have to think about that or worry about that as much. So it's really good to hear that it's in each generation, that's getting better and better. So people can understand that they can be who they are. And I commend you. So that's great, because for some, it took me, and I'm a strong person, all that, it took me so long to be okay with being different. So
me too. Hands down, like I'll agree with that 100% because when you grow up, and especially, I mean, I think the world is still like this because we talked about success for further back, and I want to go back to that because a lot of people that think that abundance or success, it's materialistic crap, and it's really, for me personally, I will speak only for myself with this. Success is just, for me, having peace of mind. Seriously, that I'm connected and I'm whole inside and out, that the face matches the inside of what I'm feeling. That is success, because if you're aligned.
Well, that's your definition of success. You see?
Right.
So that's what you have to keep clear. I have more your definition, but I also know that I live in New York City. Money is important. I want to travel. Okay, I want to travel and all that, but I don't consider success someone who just makes a lot of money, because we know those people can be
right
and not very whatever. So, and they can, you can be always. You can be. The American version of success is often materially related, unfortunately. It's more than other countries, because I've lived abroad and I, have French family, and it is. So it's a little even harder in this society to kind of go against the grain. But I think we're starting to realize that people are different. They have different definitions of success. I happen to agree with you. For me, peace of mind is more important than anything. So peace of mind and being myself, you know. And let's say even when you become yourself, there are always challenges, there are always fears, like you say, and you have to face them, like you say, and feel them and work yourself through them. But the main thing is to connect with your definition of success, with your definition of fulfillment.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and not impose your definition on other people. I feel like
Agreed.
there's a big, imposition. Like another example would be from my generation, you're supposed to have kids, get married, and all that. Now, a lot of my friends don't have kids. Now, I always wanted kids, but when you get older, you understand. And then you do, and then that's fine. I always thought to myself, as a kid, I saw so many mothers who weren't happy and they weren't good mothers. And I thought, why do you have to become a parent if you don't want to be a parent? If you want to, yes. Same with marriage, same with career, same with whatever. So I think that's the main thing. I think each person is unique and beautiful. They're born a certain way with certain gifts, talents, skills. Yes. And the job of their life is to find out what these things are and who they are with these particular unique skills, use them and share them with the world, to me, to better the world, right?
Absolutely.
That is it. And to lessen their suffering on the path, because life, contains suffering, and that's part of it. But it doesn't.
It's how we show up to it, though, and it's how we process it, and if we allow it to overcome our lives, or are we gonna take back our lives and empower ourselves and nip it in the butt, so to speak, and work through it. Because it's truly important. And my definition of success is two parts. I think for me, being whole and connected with who I am, that I'm truly happy on the inside and the outside. Having that formula now allows me to go after the things I truly want in my life that are materialistic, right? Because let's face it, we're on this planet. We need money to survive.
That's right.
Money does make the world go round. We have to pay our bills. We have to, have a roof over our head.
Nothing wrong.
It's energy.
Money. Nothing wrong with money.
Exactly. But I think being aligned with who you are and how you truly feel and showing up in this world authentically gives you the best possible outcome to embrace who you are wholly and put that energy into other things that are also part of success.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Money is an exchange of energy, right?
Exactly.
Really. Bottom line.
Exactly.
So I believe you can do well. I believe in that kind of abundance too. But like you're saying, but when it's connected to your life purpose again,
that's right.
The reason you're here, your skills, gifts, and talents that you can share and give to the world, like you said, when it's connected to that, the abundance feels right. It feels peace. It feels, that's where the inner peace comes in. It feels calm. The success that you want to define has to come from within. It really comes from within. I'm not saying, I'm not trying to criticize our culture, although it could take a little bit of criticism. But we are, way too oriented, like you said, toward the material, and so because of the way our system works and our healthcare system and all that, people are they're often stuck in work that's life, sucking, energy sucking.
Yeah.
It's sad. And we're going to hopefully there will make some shifts in our culture. Hopefully.
I hope so too.
But in the meanwhile, we can do it individually. Like you said, each person changing and becoming. It's really a thing to me of re-becoming who you really are. You were born this way. When you were born, you were like, I'm here. I'm ready to give all
carefree.
Who am I? All my gifts, my skills, my talents, and they're all particular, right? One like this, one like that. And whatever they are, I'm here to give them. It's not, there was no holding us back. There was no, and then the rules came in from 0 to 7 years, families, cultures, communities, schools teaching us, don't do this, don't do that, do this, do that, be with these people, don't be with these people. And that taught us things that get absorbed, and we're absorbed into our subconscious. So again, connect the subconscious to conscious, connect your body and your mind, become an objective observer of your thoughts, learn how to connect with what gives you joy.
Yes.
What gives you joy? What gives you bliss? What puts you in the flow? That's a hint as to what your innate natural talents and gifts are. Like, for example, when I did acting years ago, and now when I do my painting, I am totally, I think 5 minutes past, it's 5 hours. I am in a, no, really, I am
It's
in,
awesome.
I'm in a state of flow.
Yes.
Total, nothing's happening. Time is, I don't care. In it. It's a fabulous thing. It's sort of this flow. That's what athletes use. That's what a lot of people, when you feel joy, flow, those are those things that give you that, or those people, or those situations. You have to look at them because they're hints to who you are, what your innate talents, abilities, and gifts are. So, and the body has to be aware of them. So it all comes together, but
it does.
It's just fascinating how we're so different, so unique, and we want to become wholly us.
That's right. Oh my gosh. Gigi, this was amazing. Like I can't thank you enough. You're just this we honestly, I could spend hours just talking to you.
Yes.
It's amazing. It's so like, and just to just to have two different perspectives, and we agree on so many things, and just to have just different generations realizing the same things, like, and there's hope, like that people can really tap into who they are authentically, genuinely, wholeheartedly, and giving themselves the permission, I think, is key here to being curious about their full potential, and realizing the feelings and realizing the emotions, and becoming aware of the body and the mind and how everything works simultaneously, and being wholeheartedly, genuinely their true authentic selves. Like, there's hope. Like, I truly feel hope. Where can my viewers get a hold of you? Where can people listening get a hold of you if they want a session with you? And I'll put, you guys, I'll put Gigi's information into this description box, so no worries if you're listening.
Okay. Well, thank you. First, thank you is fantastic. Yeah, we can go on for hours. I do give people a free clarity call. And it can be, 40 minutes, and it's to see, if we want to partner with each other and how I can help you. So with people, so you can sign up on my website, which is www.gigiarnaud.com. I'm sure you'll spell it out for them because it's a funny French name. And you can also DM me at Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Dr. Dr. Gigiarnaud, Dr. Gigi Arnaud. For my art, it's Gigi Arnaud Art on Instagram, but for my painting stuff. But you can do that. And on the website, you can sign up for your free clarity call, and you can also leave your email, and you'll get a book that I've written about 7 mind shifts, which are really helpful. And it talks about what we were talking about: awareness, acceptance. Those are the 7 mind shift steps. That's part of it. So you'll get that for free, and it's pretty interesting. It's a good size.
Nice.
And you also, at the same time, you're signing up for my blog posts, which they used to be weekly, now they're bi-weekly. But you'll see a lot of this information. Like, just reading them, you're going to get a lot of information, like the vagus nerve, all about hypnosis, what are the misconceptions about it. So I do packages typically. For coaching, I typically do packages, usually 3, 6, and 12 months, usually because 3 months is usually the minimum you need to start changing thought patterns and stuff.
Absolutely.
With some people who need just one particular goal, then I'll do a month for one particular goal in mind. When it comes to hypnosis, I do separate sessions, but usually they're in bunches, even then, because usually one session for things is not quite enough. So for some people, I'll mix coaching and hypnosis. So I do, for example, with weight, it could be weight loss, it could be eating disorders. We'll do package that maybe 2 coaching sessions, 2 hypnosis sessions, or mix them. And that can be really helpful because hypnosis is, I call it the subconscious kick in the pants to get things moving. It gets things moving because it puts things into your subconscious mind. But then when you do the coaching, you learn, how do I eat well?
How-tos, right?
I'm from French parents, so that's important. How do you move well? Either exercise, whatever. So there are different ways to do it. So there are packages. You can read all this on my website. You can call. You can text me. I'm here. I'm open. And we can
love it. Awesome. Dr. Gigi, thank you so much for being here. Guys, thank you so much for watching this. Don't forget to subscribe. Help me grow this channel. It's all about giving you tools for your toolbox. It means the world to me. Let's get to this YouTube algorithm. Let's grow the channel. Your support means the world to me. And thank you for being with me. It means a lot. I love you guys. And I will see you on the next episode. Be well, guys. Take care.